I think we need to do an anime episode. My basis is that it's an anime podcast.
It's got animes in the title.
Which is actually a huge problem for us. And we haven't even done that.
Yeah.
So let's do an anime episode so we don't have to lose the title and just become Sickos with no modifier.
Yeah, that would be really bad. I mean, I see what you mean, Joe. I actually did some data analysis. Our last anime episode, the last episode where we talked about anime for, more than like a passing moment, where we actually made it a topic, was episode 44, The Sickos Read Depressing Manga, which arguably is not about anime, it's about manga.
It's the same. It's just, it's anime on the page.
Exactly. That was 11 episodes ago, 11 out of 55. Fully 20% of the podcast run where we just don't talk about anime at all. So I'm with you. We need to get back on that train.
My concern, though, is that we're rusty.
Yeah, I mean, it is a muscle that you have to work out, the anime muscle, and we're a little weak. So I think, how about a warm up? You ready for a warm up?
Yes.
Okay, so Joe, what I'm going to do, I'm on the Fate wiki right now, and
okay, all right, I'm feeling limber immediately.
Now, before I get to what I'm going to read on the Fate wiki, I just want to say, I want to defend Fate against some haters. A lot of people say criticisms about Fate where they're like, it's such an annoying waste of potential that they have all of these historical figures that are like so iconic in the popular consciousness, like these characters that just everyone knows about that are larger than life, these historical figures, and they don't even like fit the historical record, or not even the historical record, just like the legend. They change them to be like different than the popular conception of them, and that sort of robs them of their iconic power. A lot of people say this, and I think that that's unfair, actually. I think that this show actually does use its historical characters and forefront the things about them that are most sort of prominent in the popular consciousness. Like, let's take, for example, the character Nero, the Roman Emperor Nero. You've heard of the Roman Emperor Nero, right, Joe?
Yes, I've heard of him. I think at some point I got to Wikipedia and his name was around there.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Now, Joe, I just want to, don't think about anime at all. Don't think about the character. Don't think about Fate. I'm talking about, pure historical record. I want you to name, just off the top of your head, the first two things that come to mind when you think of Nero.
Two?
Yeah.
Okay. One, he's a slamming hot babe. Two, it looks just like King Arthur.
Exactly. That's what everyone thinks, and that is what Fate forefronts. They foreground those two things because that's what everyone thinks of when they think of Nero. And that's why I think it's really bullshit when people criticize this series for stuff like that. Anyway, what I want to read from the Fate wiki is Emperor Nero's noble phantasm. Now, Joe, can you explain to the people who may have forgotten what exactly noble phantasms are? What is that?
Yeah, a noble phantasm is basically when a historical anime figure from Fate goes sicko mode using historical context that makes sense. Like Alexander the Great, his noble phantasm is all his homies he conquered. Mm-hmm. So it was like the Yoshi Final Smash where all the homies show up.
Yeah.
King Arthur is Excalibur. It's a big old sword. So it's usually a big move that kicks ass.
Yeah, it's a special move. And in anime where there are special moves and when there's fighting, it's really important that every character's special move is explained and really clear and you know what the rules are. And that's important because when you know the rules and you know what everyone's capable of, you can sort of sort people by power level in your head and sort of think about I wonder who would win if they fought each other. And then when there is a fight, you're like, oh, I know what both of these characters are capable of, so I know what sort of bag of tricks they're each going to be pulling from. So this is going to be sort of fun to see because I'm going to be trying to guess what's going to happen, and then I'm going to get surprised with creative uses of these powers.
Yeah, and they're also going to say the name of the move as they do it.
Yeah, because anime is good. Now, Joe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the Fate wiki article for Nero's noble phantasm. And I want you to just stop me when you know what this special move does. And I don't think you will be able to, ever.
Okay.
Beginning. Estus Domus Aurea, Invitation to the Golden Debauchery Theater, localized as Golden Theater of the Deranged, is the Domus Aurea.
That's the move?
Yes.
That's the name of it?
That is the name. It is the theater designed by Nero and constructed in Rome during her lifetime, given form and reproduced through magical energy with a method extremely similar to that used by reality marbles. It is different from a reality marble, which covered the current world, and world is a hyperlink that goes to a Fate wiki page entitled World, with a capital W, with a different world. The Golden Theater could persist for long periods because it was built on top of the current world. Rather than being a materialization of her inner world, it is high thaumaturgy that only Nero can perform, who believes without a doubt that before her status as an emperor, she is an artist who rivals Apollo and a chariot driver that rivals Sol. It is an absolute imperial zone, which allows the owner to achieve their aspirations. So that was paragraph 1. Do you have any idea now, or do you want me to go to paragraph 2?
So I've joked about Jujutsu Kaisen saying domain expansion is the goofer zone, but what you're describing right now is the goofer zone. So I'm just, based on what you told me, you gave me a bunch of words that mean nothing, but the context was like a theater shows up and she has a good time there.
I mean, sure. It seems like the thing is, like, Joe, I don't know if you're right. Like, I don't know the answer. I've read this and it doesn't help.
Okay, so this isn't a koi game. Like, you don't know.
No, I don't know. I'm going to continue because this is fucking funny. Paragraph 2. This noble phantasm represents the explosion of her bothersome artistic talent. Fuck. Its precise name was Estus Domus Aurea. In Latin, Estus meant passion and heat, while Domus Aurea was the name of her theater that was constructed. It is a theater based on the palace Nero had built after her original one was burned to the ground. It was also a grand villa built upon the ruins of the homes of the aristocracy that once covered the famed Esquiline Hill. It was the manifestation of the tale of Nero declaring, "Heed my song," and locking everyone in the theater to listen to her song. It created a golden theater in which everything was advantageous to Nero and made it into a battlefield. While deployed, enemies trapped are weakened and buildings can be customized by changing its shapes and functions. Putting it simply, I fucking doubt it, Fate Wiki, but let's continue. Putting it simply, she can ignore the building process and project the buildings instead, in which she can then invoke her own rules. When the golden theater activates, Nero's sword would be shrouded in flames like that of Mount Vesuvius, causing an inferno, and rose petals would dance in the air. It seemed that there was the silver workshop for Saber's artistic endeavors and the blazing kitchen for cooking competitions. Such was the will of Her Majesty.
Wait, is it a move or a clubhouse? I'm really confused because, like, now you're talking about how nice the kitchen is, and like I don't really understand. So is it a theater or a big palace? Because like the first paragraph, I'm gonna hold you what you said. It was a theater built on top of a reality marble, but it is not a reality marble. And now you're saying that it's like a McMansion that has a rumpus room?
I mean, Joe, it's a good question you're asking. You know, this is a tough concept, and it does take some clarification. So, just to reiterate, putting it simply, she can ignore the building process and project the buildings instead.
Why is buildings plural? You were talking about a theater. I'm so fucking pissed. What is happening?
Oh, there's more. There were some quotes, and I thought it was over, but here's more. When the theater was first opened for business, many of the spectators left midway through the performance. Causing an outraged Nero to blockade all doorways once the second performance began, and not let even one person leave until the curtains of the stage were down. As a result, escape without Nero's permission or cessation of the phantasm is virtually impossible. In the game, the ability causes Saber's attacks to ignore the opponent's defense. Okay, well, that should have been the first line. That should have been the first thing that... Fuck.
I understand ignoring defense values. Like, I get that shit. I'm hardwired to understand that. This thing where, like, she does an open mic and makes everyone hostage, and if you leave, you die?
Fuck. Fate's so fucking stupid.
It makes as much money as the Catholic Church.
It does.
You said a lot of goofy shit, but last time we did a deep dive on the Fate, we learned about the magic system, and like one of the tenets of the magic system is that capital M mysteries cannot be created using magic. There could be no more mysteries.
Yeah, we've reached the hard cap of mysteries.
I don't know what that means, but what you're describing with this theater shit, to me, reads as a capital M mystery, so I can only take this as Nero is, like, bending the rules. I would also say that Nero... What was the phrase? A high thaumaturgy that only Nero can perform?
Yes.
I hate it. It sucks. It's fucking awful that you made those sounds.
It's so bad, dude. It's so bad. It's the Golden Theater of the Deranged. I'm sorry. What more do you want from me? It can be the blazing kitchen for cooking competitions. Such was the will of Her Majesty. Joe, this makes sense to me. The Fate Wiki wouldn't publish it if it didn't make sense. That would be crazy. We would never accuse the Fate Wiki of just being, like, nonsense words that are barely above lorem ipsum.
In the description, it kept saying Saber was there. Why?
Nero is Saber. Nero is also... Okay, so the reason the fucking Nero exists, for real, is that Saber, the original Saber from Fate, King Arthur, which is the most popular character, they absolutely fucked themselves, the creative team, by making Saber, like, very demure and modest and wear dresses where the neck goes, like, all the way to her neck.
It goes over her head.
Yeah, she's completely covered. There's no skin. And, like, her character is such that, like, she would never show her yabos and, like, wiggle them around. And they're like, holy shit, we've just, like, fucking kneecapped ourselves in terms of earning potential. This was the dumbest move we've ever made. Please kill the original author for making this dumb fucking character who doesn't show her titty. So,
but then some big brains at R&D were like, hold on. What if we do a palette swap of King Arthur? We add a few cup sizes, and then we make it so she has a suck and fuck palette as a move.
The fucking Fate phone game, like, made more money than Apple last year.
Yeah, Apple, all they did was create a device that would eventually have Fate on it. Like, Steve Jobs doesn't know that when he was doing his, like, this is the iPhone, he was like, you're going to be able to see a PNG of Confucius the Twink Boy on this shit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses where we talk about the four pillars of modern misery, anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I'm Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko. We are doing an anime episode. We crunched the numbers. We will lose our podcast license if we do not do it. So we're going to start with something much more grounded than any of the Fate bullshit. Tom and I both watched Deca-Dence.
Deca-Dence, I'm going to give you the short version right now. It's great. It's a 12-episode series. It's not based on anything. It's completely brand new. And it fucking whips sack, folks. It's just very good. And I'm going to give a disclaimer here that, like, in order to talk about Deca-Dence in any sort of depth beyond the absolute surface level, we're going to have to basically spoil everything. But, like, it's fine. Like, it's still good. Like, it's fine to know what's going to happen before in any series. Like, spoilers aren't real. Like, it's fine.
They can hurt you. And also, in my opinion, and I think you agree, sort of the big storytelling reveal, the sleight of hand magic that is the most powerful and wow-inducing, straight up happens in the second episode. So it's not like we're going to drop something that happens episode 11 and, like, ruin your surprise. The thing that immediately gripped me about this show, the ballsiness of it, happens... 30 seconds into the second episode.
Yeah.
So if spoilers are concerned, just set aside 44 minutes
Yeah.
to watch the first 2 episodes. Honestly, watch the first episode and then 5 minutes of the second episode.
Yeah, you'll get it. The way you described it to me, I watched the first episode, and I was in an anime rut. I hadn't watched anime forever. I was doing gaming instead. I was cheating on anime with gaming.
You got to keep your humors balanced.
Exactly. I had too much black bile. So I watched the first episode, and you were like, you got to keep watching. I'm like, I'll get to it. And you're like, you got to see what happens in episode 2. And the way you described it to me is like, the Mr. Show sketch where David Cross is the Dalai Lama, and then it just sort of effortlessly, without you even noticing, the sketch transitions into being about all of the monks having to do camp games against the fat kid camp across the lake, and
seamlessly. It's like they resolve the fact that David Cross's burnout character is the Dalai Lama, and then like they pull down a big map of the local camp, and they're like, as you know, we got to get ready for the camp games with the fat kids across the lake. One of the most beautiful and seamless sketch transitions I think of all time, and this show does the anime version of it.
It's truly astonishing. When you told me that, I'm like, okay, I got to drop everything and watch Deca-Dence. And man, you weren't fucking lying. It's holy fuck. So here's what we think Deca-Dence is in episode 1. This is the setup to the magic trick. It's the future, and there are basically Titans from Attack on Titan, except instead of being guys that look weird, it's just monsters. It's just normal monsters. And instead of all of the humans living in a walled city, they live in a thing called Deca-Dence, which is this huge mobile fortress that like runs on the blood of the monsters and is always running away from the monsters, and it's where all the people live.
It's literally a goo-powered fortress.
Yes. When the monsters show up, a bunch of warriors come out, and some of the warriors look kind of funny. They're like different, like there's like purple guys and blue guys and green guys.
Yeah, there's some Ginyus, some dang Ginyus.
Yeah, Ginyus come out, and they have like backpacks and stuff that let them like fly around the monsters. Very similar to Attack on Titan, how they're sort of like zipping and zopping with their fucking grappling hook
Grabby
belts.
hooks, yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is like a sort of sci-fi Attack on Titan. I get it. And our main character is Natsume, who's this girl who wants to fight, but she's missing her hand. And so she has this prosthetic hand that barely works, and she's like, I want to be a fighter. And they're like, you're never going to be a fighter. You're going to repair the armor on Deca-Dence. That's going to be your job forever. That's what we've assigned to you. And I knew that this anime had COG theme, so I'm like, oh, this is the COG theme, that she has to do this shitty job. That's the COG theme. And she's like, no, I really want to fight one day. And there's this grizzled old guy who teaches her how to repair armor, and like, he's a little bit more than what he seems. Maybe he's a fighter? Oh, maybe maybe Hill's going to teach her how to fight. That's what the show is going to be about. No.
So that was episode 1. Episode 2 starts, and it is quickly revealed that everything we just said, the mobile fortress, is because Earth is basically fucked. So there's a part of Earth that is dedicated to what we just described. It's sort of like a video game theme park.
Yeah, it's fucking gaming. So humans are not the dominant species on Earth. It is cyborgs who are little fucking Lego men who live in a big orbiting ship, and they're Lego guys.
They make suction cup sounds when they walk. They live in a big fortress that I can only describe as like a big McDonald's ball pit. And like, what does that mean? It means that like that grizzled armor repair guy who is more than he seems is not like a cool anime guy. He's actually what looks like a Playmobil guy in a scuba suit with Bart Simpson hair who is actually controlling an avatar.
Yeah.
I want to be clear though, the humans are real. So like the humans don't know that they live in an MMO and their life sucks.
Yeah, the humans are literally advertised as like, Hey, cyborgs, I know you look like a Fairly Odd Parents Playmobil man, but would you consider logging on to an ultimate gaming action experience where you go down to Earth in a fake body and fight monsters for fun? Also, as a side benefit, if you're interested in nerd shit, there's an old extinct species called humans that you can interact with. They're weird. Anyway.
Yeah, and they live in like a big vertical slum in the fortress. Like, they basically live in a bunch of shipping containers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the humans who live there are all actually humans. Like, they're not avatars and, like, bodies from a Lego guy who is playing the game. They're living in the slums. So the monsters that, like, kill the fortress and attack people, they're a nightmare to them because they kill friends and family. But in reality, the monsters are like created in a lab so people can get XP and have a good time.
Yeah, they're given move sets so that like different monsters are like for different levels, and like so you can counter them with a fun play style. Like, it's gaming. Like, Joe, it's literally gaming. Like, I thought that this was going to be a cog show about like, oh, this girl got assigned a cog job and she has to like break through this extremely regimented society, and that's what the cog theme is going to be. No, the theme is that gaming is a
prison.
Yeah, gaming is a shitty cog prison, which is true. No one else has the goddamn courage to say this.
This is true because, like, you might be like, well, it's obviously like there's a sci-fi element because there's not like a lost race in video games of people stuck in the game. That's obviously not true. Incorrect. Every other player in an MMO is someone stuck in the game. They're not real.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, like, that's correct.
Yeah.
Like, it is an accurate description of what happens when you play WoW or Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah. It's the killer line that they just throw out at the beginning of episode 2 where they do the big reveal is that the corporation that owns the Deca-Dence video game that runs the fucking MMO and plans the events bought the rights, brought the IP rights to humans. And so, like,
yes.
It's actually illegal for there to be a human that is not part of the Deca-Dence gaming experience because
Yes.
we own them.
Yeah, so, like, you know how there's, like, a bunch of shipping containers with, like, subsistence farming, barely living humans? That's called a competitive advantage.
And, oh, shit, like, the humans, not only do they not know about all this shit, but, like, if they do find out, they are killed. And
yes.
Natsume, her dad, was like a genius researcher who like she looks up to so much, and he was like on the cusp of a breakthrough, and he like died on the battlefield, and she's like, oh, if only I could know what he was researching.
His breakthrough was like he was walking and he noticed something in the dirt and he dug it up and it was like, cyborg's a real bitch.
Yeah.
Like it was like a note.
He's like, oh, I found a dead minion. I found a little man shaped like a Tylenol.
And then what happened is I wanted to tell people about the minion, and then I got fucking no-scoped during a mission because the company saw my knowledge of knowing about the minions as a bug.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. It would not be fucking fun if you logged on to Deca-Dence and you wanted to immerse yourself in this virtual world where there's like this dying race just barely hanging on by the skin of their teeth, and they're like, actually we're in a video game, actually we're gamers, and like a boring breaking the fourth wall, what is this, Deadpool? Boo, it's unfun. Patch out the humans, I don't like them anymore.
Also, it does a really nice job of just taking like online gaming concepts of like the life cycle of a game, like patch and new content, and it instills them with like horrible implications because the humans think they are fighting a war of survival, and I guess they are in a way. But every time they like have a big breakthrough or maybe like turn the tide a little bit, the game will just patch in new content, which kills you harder. And obviously the new content is fun for the gamers because it's like a chance to do a new raid or whatever. But the humans are just like forever they're literally killed for content.
Yeah. Like there is a point in the series where like they're fighting what the plot of the game is telling us is the alpha monster, the one that births them all.
You get rid of the alpha and like then it's just a cool place where everyone lives in a big fortress shaped like a fist and there's no problems.
Mm-hmm. And the game design of this mission is such that this is an unwinnable mission against a supposed to lose to this boss, but then like the boss gets killed because our heroes are very good at saving the day. And the fucking admins of Deca-Dence are like, well, this was supposed to be a you lose this fight mission and that was the plot, and now the plot's fucked. So let's just patch in all the other monsters. So all the human people, like most of the fighters are people logged in, but there is also like a core of actual humans who fight, which again is like a novelty. Like, the Lego men are like, can you believe some humans are fighting alongside us? That's crazy.
Like when they die for real. They don't, like, when the minions die, they just log off.
Yeah, and they're like, damn, I lost a life. I'll log in tomorrow. When the humans die, they die. And so the humans are like, we killed the alpha. Oh my god, we've done it. We've done it. We're free. We can get off of Deca-Dence. We can live our lives again. And then they see like the fucking sky just sort of, it's a hologram, so it just changes color and reveals that there's like a jillion even bigger monsters out in the background. And everyone who's logged in is like, hell yeah, more gaming.
And obviously every human is like, oh, we're being struck down by God because we have sinned.
I mean, yes, it's true. So Joe, we should talk about the actual characters in the show. So we know Natsume, who's the human who wants to be her best and she wants to be a fighter. Who's the other main guy?
The other main character is Kaburagi. This is the minion guy who is playing as the armor repair guy, the guy who it's like, oh, is there more to this guy than it seems? And the reason he's playing as a human character instead of like a Shrek or a Ginyu is because he's like an employee of the company, and he I know what I'm about to say sounds like I'm doing an anime Sickos goofer, but like this is legit in the story. He was banned from gaming for surpassing his limits.
Yeah.
Surpassing your limits is super illegal. You cannot do it. If you do it, the admin gets very upset. And so his when he surpassed his limits, he was identified as a bug, and like they were like, oh, the cyborgs are gonna like torture this guy and remove him because he bugged out the game by surpassing his limits. And I also want to reiterate, when we're saying surpass their limits, we're not saying like some sort of in-game context, and then we are sort of like goofifying it with the language of saying surpassing your limits. No, every character in this fucking show says the phrase surpassing limits again and again with no variation. It's so fucking funny.
Like, literally, they say like, oh, our avatars all have limiters built in. You can't remove the limiter. And Kaburagi is like, yeah, I would never remove the limiter. And one guy's like, but how would you if you could? And he's like, well, actually, I know exactly how because I've done it a lot. Oh, oops, sorry. Oops, no, I never. Because like he's one of the all-time best gamers. Like he's on a gamer squad that is like the pro gamers. They are the very best of the best at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, he surpassed his limit one day. And you're not actually allowed to turn off your limiter. So he was assigned to become a sort of a grunt worker in the bowels of Deca-Dence, where he's nominally an armor repairman, but what he really is a cleaner. Basically, anytime some human learns too much or there's a bug, he has to fucking kill it with a gun.
Yeah, it's his job. Bugs must be removed.
Yeah, the admin is very clear that bugs fucking suck and that they can't be allowed to fuck up the system, because the system of cogs is so fucking important. I have to turn the crank and see them all move.
The admin who demands all the bugs removed is also like, we hate him doubly so, because obviously he's a boss, but also he has the Gurren Lagann glasses, like the cool sunglasses. So he's taking cool imagery of homies and using it for work. Yeah. So he's like a super criminal.
It's fucking suck. It's so bad. God. And so Kaburagi at the start of the series is like suicidal. Like, these robots live forever, but in order to run, they need to eat fuel. They
got to eat goo.
Yeah, they got to eat the goo that comes out of the monsters to run their little minion bodies. And I do have to be clear that the art style for the cyborgs is so fucking different than the actual anime of the real world. Like, the lines are like 5 times thicker, and every color is like pastel and unshaded, and
it's a
everyone
different
has
fucking
like
show. Anytime there's like something happening and it cuts to like the Lego guy thinking, it's fucking funny.
And like Kaburagi, who we know is like our second protagonist, like he looks in the real world so fucking cool. He's like a stoic, tired silver fox who's still like cut and strong. And there's like the best human fighter now is like this huge titty lady who remembers him from when he didn't be banned from the game and like wants to fuck him so bad. She's insanely horny for Kaburagi, not knowing that what he is if you bought a tactical scuba Lego set and put Bart hair on the Lego man that came with it. Like, that's what he really is. It's so insane that they have the balls to do this.
This poor woman is like pushing herself to be recognized as the most powerful gamer of all the time with the hope, and she doesn't know this, that she can one day fuck a minion.
They're fucking minions. Like, there was an interview with the director of Deca-Dence. He's like, yeah, we were influenced by a lot of anime, but also we were influenced by a lot of Western animation, too. You know, I've really been getting into Western animation. There's a lot we can learn from that. Like, have you heard of the Minions? They're so cool.
There's a part where Kaburagi goes to, like, cyborg prison, as in like he doesn't have his avatar, he's just like his Lego guy, and there's a part where they're all like force fed like bad goop that makes them sleepy, and buddy, the minion influence is clear because it is jammed up their ass.
How is that minion influence? What do the minions do that's like that?
Dude, what are you talking about? Like, the minions are just like, oh, here's what's the weirdest, goofiest thing the little eye guys can do, and it's like, oh, someone goes in their ass, and it's happening.
I think you've been watching different minion content than me.
No, so I've seen the minion memes. It's like people don't know me, they don't know the real me, and then like the minion has a huge ass. I know what minions are. I've seen the memes. I've seen like the Facebook moms post them.
Actually, no, you're right. I'm wrong. I mea culpa. Anyway, so at the beginning of the series, Kaburagi is suicidal. Basically, he's being given his payment by the system, which is good, happy fuel that'll keep him living happy and strong. And he just isn't taking it. And he can see that he's on empty. And like in a day, he's just going to run out of fuel. He's got tons of fuel in his room. He just never sticks it into his port. Because he doesn't give a shit anymore. And then he meets Natsume, who is like, hey, I am going to surpass my limits. Because I am sick of my limits being my lost hand. I'm going to surpass them. I'm sick of these limits. And he's just like, damn, did this girl just talk about surpassing limits?
Yeah, and he's also like super inspired by her because like, man, if she dies, she's dead. Mm-hmm. Like, so everything she does is like a heroic by a factor of 10. Yeah. Of course, she has no idea of this, and he is not going to be like, oh, by the way, I'm a Lego guy. You live in prison? Like, yeah.
All the suffering you've done is background flavor text for an MMO that I played back when I was cool.
Yeah, we killed your dad because he read the wiki.
Fuck you, dude. That's very funny. Shit.
The fun thing, I guess, Deca-Dence does very well is like, the whole time you're like, well, obviously she has to learn that like she lives in a horrible gaming simulation, and without getting into the specifics, she does learn, and like she doesn't care, dude.
Yeah, like it's scary and sort of horrifying for a moment, but then like and it's because, dude, surpassing the limits is the main theme of the fucking show. She realizes that like when you're in an awful cog system that is so much fucking stronger than you, that no matter what you do against it to struggle, it will win. No matter how hard you struggle against capitalism, it's gonna be just controlling you. You have to be a cog in the system because there's nothing to opt out into. It's the only thing that's there. When you're in that situation, the only thing that you can do, the only rebellion, is to surpass your limits.
And limit surpassing is not qualified. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, if you are like sitting and you're like, I guess I gotta pee, and you're like, wait a minute, if I hold my bladder, that's a form of limit surpassing.
Yes.
That is inherently a noble endeavor.
Yeah.
According to this, because when they say limit surpassing, it's not about fighting. It's like literally like just anything.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
Yeah, like Kaburagi was like, I'm gonna suicide myself because there's nothing I could ever do that would overthrow this system. I could never completely remake the world. So what's the point? And he sees Natsume, who's like, I am 100% inspired to the maximum by the goal of I want a different job. And just like seeing that she's got the same drive that he once had, but like for this little thing, he's like, well, okay, I guess I gotta also surpass my limits. Surpassing limits fucking kicks ass. I forgot that. I lost sight of that in my depression, but now that I've seen someone trying to surpass their limits, I realize that anime is good now.
Yes. It's just anything that involves and it's not just him. Like, other people are inspired to surpass limits too. He has like the limit surpassing virus. Mm-hmm. You may think, based on what we described with the game, like where people are Attack on Titaning and like shooting what are essentially spiked pipes into bad guys so their blood shoots out and further powering their backpacks. You might think that like all the cool action sequences are in the game. I'm about to tell you something that I respect a lot. The coolest action sequences are actually about Lego guys.
Little dumpy dudes with stubby arms.
And the reason that happens is Kaburagi, he's inspired to surpass limits. He is reminded that limit surpassing is against the rules, and he gets sent to cyborg prison, which I know themes are hard for anime sometimes, so they really do a nice job here. He is sentenced to shovel shit, which then is broken down into fuel that is pumped into his own body forever.
This is a very subtle and nuanced metaphor that is layered in gauzy sheets of obfuscation, but we have pierced the meaning, which is they do that in real life to you when you work.
Yes, yeah, like... there's a part where all the cyborgs realize that what they've been eating for the past forever years has been their own shit, and they all start puking. Now, a lot of people might not understand what that is implying, but we picked up on that, and we understand that they don't like that they found out that they're eating shit.
I also didn't like when I found that out. And there, at one point, Kaburagi, in his Lego man form, has to fight another Lego guy, who, again, I'm not joking when I say it's Fairly Odd Parents style. Like, they don't have that smile, that huge stylized smile that the Fairly Odd Parents have, but like the very, very thick lines and unshaded colors and like dumpy body shapes. Like, it's fucking Fairly Odd Parents, dude. And There is one character, we've been calling them minions. There's one character, Jill, who I swear to God, if she were yellow and not pink, absolutely indistinguishable from a minion. Like 100%.
It's a minion in a wig.
Yeah, like she's wearing overalls.
And she is like the hacker and like the knowledgeable person. She was sent to shit prison for not respecting the mods or something. I don't remember.
Something like that. But like Kaburagi has to fight this big purple guy, and
the big purple guy is a former gaming guild member of his. He was a guy who wanted to surpass his limits also for gaming score reasons.
I think it was their entire squad got sent to gaming hell because Kaburagi surpassed his limits, and like the entire team was punished.
Right. It's collective punishment.
Exactly. Like, we can't trust any of you guys because he is definitely infecting you with the fucking surpassing limits virus, which is what he's when he's in prison. He's the one who's like, his drive to surpass limits is what like foments a rebellion, and it's all because of Natsume. Like, Natsume is such a fucking small scale limit surpasser in the grand scale of like what actually is true about the world. Like, what she wants to do is like, I want to join the team of humans that fights the monsters, which is like, really, it's honestly like a background character in an MMO being like, I want to stop being the shopkeeper and start being someone who hangs around the palace and is like, have you seen monsters lately? The king wants you to destroy them. Like, that's the change she wants to make.
Yeah, Natsume seems like just like someone who would give you the start of a quest in WoW. Like, there's several quests about getting her to a better job, right? Exactly,
yeah. But it's because of her drive and desire to surpass limits that all of this, the ball gets rolling. It's so good. I loved it.
When we say the action sequence as the Lego guys is really good, what happens is it's kind of like the Thunderdome down there in the shit pit, and like the thing he has to do is he has to, as a Lego man. So I want to reiterate, he ain't got knees. He's got no knees. When he walks, it makes cute diaper noises. And he has to. There's in the middle of the shit pit. There's like these. It's like the shit till. It's like a bunch of spiked bars that are constantly churning the shit, and he has to fight his former guild member with a shovel on like this balancing shit pit. And Kaburagi is minion sized. The other guy is like a fighting robot.
Yeah, he's huge.
And they have a very intense battle with shovels because that's the only weapon they have. Because all they do is shovel shit. And it's like really good. I can't reiterate that like seeing an intense fight where everyone looks like Timmy Turner without a mouth is like really fucking good. Also, it's choreographed wonderfully.
Also, like, we haven't mentioned this, but like the eyes on all of the cyborgs are like the eyes that we have on the Anime Sickos logo. They're as big and round and shiny and cute as you could possibly make an anime eye. They're so goddamn cute. Every single one of these cyborgs has the most absolutely like cartoon ass Mickey Mouse ass eyes. And when Kaburagi, who is like this stoic badass, like the classic example of the badass, like silent but strong anime protagonist, when he does his angry eyebrows and he's like 2 feet tall and shaped like an egg, and his angry eyebrows are above the most baby eyes you ever saw.
They all look like toys you would put a quarter in, and you turn the thing, and then the little bubble comes out, and there's like a useless piece of plastic inside.
They're homies.
They're literally homies, except for the fighting robot who looks like he's from a different show.
And anyway, midway through the fight, the fighting robot shoots a fucking laser beam out of his Buster Cannon arm that we didn't know he could do.
Yeah, he has a Mega Man arm the whole time. Like, the whole time. Anyway, he shoots it after the fight. Because what happens is Kaburagi, like, wins, kind of, and the big robot falls into the shit pit. But then Kaburagi has little jet booties that he's been hiding, and he saves them. And then the big metal robot, the former bro, is like, "You had jet booties the whole time?" And then Kaburagi's like, "Yes, but I didn't use them because I respect you too much." And then like one of the thugs who follows the big robot is like, "You hurt her boss, I will now attack you." And then at which point the big robot shoots his Mega Man cannon at the weapon the guy's holding and just blows it out of his hand. And he's like, "You had a working gun?" He was like, "Yes, but I respect you too much to use it." And it's like the coolest shit that's ever happened, and they're babies.
They're baby toys.
They are Muppet babies.
They're Duplos. They are baby Gonzo and baby Miss Piggy. And
and the shit pit sequence is like pretty continuous. There is some cutaway, but there's a lot of like extended sequences that are in the shit pit, which is hysterical when it cuts back to like the anime.
Because the anime parts, the real world, like on Earth with the humans, it looks exactly like you think anime looks. Like,
yeah,
it's not stylized. It's the normal look. And then you cut to this shit.
And it's like, oh yeah, this shit.
Like, even the shovels they use are in that art set. Like, that's the great, like, the shovels look like big and plump and have thick black lines around them. Like,
they're Wind Waker shovels.
They're fucking Wind Waker shovels. It's cel-shaded shovels. This is...
there's a moment, I want to skip ahead just for this amazing detail to sort of drive this point home. It's like, there's a point where Kaburagi, the minion, actually sets physical foot on the planet of Deca-Dence. So he's not an avatar. He's like a minion.
Yeah, this is the first time he's ever physically, his real body, which is a Bart Simpson minion. This is the first time his real body has been on Earth.
And at which point he drives like a Jeep that is made for like anime-sized guys with his little stubby legs. And let me tell you, him driving that Jeep and then making eye contact with Natsume, who has never seen a minion in her life. And he's driving very fast, and they just make eye contact briefly. The whole show feels like it was a setup for that stupid joke.
It's so good, dude. It's so fucking funny.
It's like, he looks so dumb driving his little car. Like, they didn't do this, but they should have put books under him.
And like, Natsume, to her, like, this is the most high intensity moment of her life. This is like the do or die moment that either leads to her death or like the world gets better, and every second counts. And wait, what did I just see? Was that a minion? Did I just see a dang minion?
Yes, and she did. And then later she finds like a group of other cyborgs who are like, "Yeah, you're human." She's like, "What the fuck?" And the way she sort of deals with the trauma of having your worldview shattered is she's like, "Oh, the minions are pretty cute."
Yeah.
That they're fine.
Oh, wait, you tell me that Kaguragi, my buddy who I thought died in front of me, what actually happened was that his avatar got logged out, and now he's here and is a minion? Whew, I guess.
There is a fun sequence that is not, I would say, super relevant to the plot, but it's like a nice visualization of like, how would MMOs work in Meat Space? And it's like every player has an avatar that is like stored in a big coffin depot. And like, so when you play, like your coffin gets pulled out of the depot and like your brain gets like jammed into the corpse prison. And there's a period where like they're chasing from the admin in like the Jetsons corpse prison place. And it's amazing.
This show's so fucking good. And like, we're talking about like discrete events that kick ass, but like, I know that a lot of people are like, it's a small-minded sort of criticism to judge art based on whether or not it agrees with your politics or not. And I agree with that. But when something does agree with your politics 100% and is also good, that like supercharges the good. Because like this anime is like exactly what we, the anime sickos, have been telling you the world is the entire time. It's a world where gaming is a bad cog hell, where everyone is in cog world. And like, eventually the admins, like the mods, talk to Kaburagi, and he's like, I disagree with you that all bugs must be destroyed. I met a bug, Natsume, and she inspired me to be a better person and live my life better. Are you telling me that something like that doesn't have a place in your system? And then I reject your system. And the admin is like, oh, actually, like, we expect there to be a bunch of bugs and then have people fighting the bugs. Like, that's part of the system. Like, the bugs are on purpose.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you think the bugs are something we're removing. It's like, we like the bugs because they permeate the models in new, exciting ways, and then we can use that for gaming harder.
Also, the existence of bugs requires an existence of a policing force that is constantly trying to reinforce the strength of the system. If like we didn't have everyone constantly doing work to make sure that the system was getting stronger, even if it's just symbolically, like in the minds of the people doing the work, like I'm making the system stronger, the system will be strong. Like we need to do that so that no one thinks about making the system weaker.
Yeah. The admin is a bent, huge-nosed guy.
He's a crow
with a
man,
bird.
for sure.
He kicks ass. He's like a weird. He looks like a boss wearing Kamina glasses. Basically, is what he is.
Yeah, it's very unfair that he has Kamina's glasses. Who, you know, a symbol of homiedom and being cool, used for evil.
And in the fiction, he's very powerful, not because he's like strong. He's strong because like when you play WoW and like an employee has to do something, like they're strong, right? Like they just pop in and fix something. So like everyone can fly using like the backpacks out of the monster blood. This dude just like floats. Like he can just no clip through the wall and kick you in the nuts.
Yeah, he's like level 99 boss from those like Mafia Wars ads. Like he just logs in with the best avatar because he works for corporate.
He started out as a level 1 minion. And he grinded and he bought the premium currency, and now he's a level 99 Gurren Lagann boss.
Yep, it's fucking great. I love this shit. If you, like me, thought Attack on Titan was cool at the beginning because there was like badass fights, but then sort of soured on it because it turned out to be like a far-right nationalist.
Doesn't it get like a race science-y?
Oh yeah, it's definitely like the Titans are the crafty Jew who were punished for their sins. It's like really bad, and not like don't watch Attack on Titan. Don't consume that series. What you should do instead is fucking Deca-Dence. Watch Deca-Dence. It's a left-wing version of Attack on Titan, except it realizes that the Titans are not the crafty Jew. The Titans are gaming, and that's the real problem. Like, you shouldn't game. Like, there shouldn't be multiplayer game. Like, there shouldn't be voice chat. Really, what Deca-Dence is telling us is that, like, the real sin of capitalism that has, like, doomed us to an awful life is voice chat.
Is hearing another person's voice. Every game should be Journey.
Yeah.
Where you don't talk to another person. Like, if you play with another person, that's fine. You can't talk to them, though.
I do want to say, though, we talked about this briefly before we started recording, but this is sort of a theme that we've explored with other sort of dystopic media, and really any sort of media that has to do with a dystopia. I don't know if there is an exception. And what I'm talking about is that the dystopia is better than now.
Yeah, look, it sucks in the shipping container slum, but, like, I don't know, they got clear goals.
Yeah, they get assigned jobs that have clear goals. Like, Natsume gets assigned, you're going to repair the armor. And, like, you can see when there's a hole, and then you fix it. And then you're like, well, I know why I did that. Now there's armor.
Like, at first glance, this idea that, like, you are a human, and you're basically living at the mercy of patches that only exist to kill you, to hurt you for content, so gamers can make numbers go up. That, for sure, seems like hell, right? But what if I told you you also live in a community where your efforts are recognized and appreciated? That's pretty cool.
And also the community is, like, united. All the humans, like, know each other and work together and care about each other because we're all in this together. Like, we need to work together to survive. And, you know, when there's a human in need, when Natsume is in need and she needs everyone to band together to do a project which is on its face ridiculous. Like, no one would want to do it, but, like, she knows because she has inside information for Kaburagi that, like, this is what needs to happen. People are like, you know what? If this is what you need, we're on your side. We're going to surpass our limits too.
Yeah, it's also a very, that scene is nice because it's like a very, it sounds dumb to say because I'm about to say realistic in the context of the Minion show, but, like, the persuasion that happens is pretty realistic because, like, she's, like, going around like, can you help me? And people are like, I don't know, I'm fucking scared all the time. And, like, time goes on and, like, they come around. It's not like she goes door to door and it's like, can you help me do the thing? And everyone's like, of course. Everyone is like, no, it sucks kind of here, but, like, they come around.
Yeah.
The show also does this thing that I really like where it makes, like, plot devices about, like, doing MMO shit wrong. Like, the thing that happens that she persuades everyone to lend aid to is they basically release every expansion at once because they're like, well, this shit's fucked. Let's patch in all the stuff that's not finished. And one of the things that happens is there's a massive hole in the wall of the shipping container slums. And, like, you can't fix it because it's, like, in the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the big brain move they have is, like, every character, I guess human, because they're not characters, every human can get, like, armor repair kits that are either for repairing their own armor or I think also for repairing the exterior of the ship.
Yeah, but, like,
and
patches, not like holes.
Yeah, and she has the idea, it's like, what if we all use the armor repair kits, like, wrong, the way the game, that I don't know is a game, intends you to use it. So she gets all these armor patches and eventually they just, like, close up the hole, and, like, in the context of the fiction in the game, it would be like a bunch of players, like, doing an exploit, right, to, like, close this gap.
What's going on is, like, there's been a big email to all the players being like, new event in Deca-Dence. It's the armor breach event. Oh no, monsters can get inside Deca-Dence. You have to be the hero to save the humans. And then, like, you're like, oh damn, the armor breach event, that sounds dope. And, like, you log in and the hole's fixed. And it's like, what? I was promised exciting battles in the human village.
The hole is fixed because everyone, like, took leather patches from their inventory and covered the whole wall, which is, like, the size of a stadium. This hole, it's huge. It's a massive breach. And, like, the actual company that, like, runs the game is like, why the fuck's the hole gone?
So good. It's so good. Yeah. Gaming sucks. Gaming is the prison. And all, I mean,
the way I interpret the theme of this is, like, the end of war games. It's like the only way to win video games is to not fucking play them.
Because, like, Like, the only real downside of the cyborg society, like, we talked about how the dystopia and human society is better than real world. Man, the cyborg society is insanely better than the real world because they all get to live in a cartoon ball pit, as you said, that orbits the Earth. And not only that, they get to game. And, like, the only bad part of their life is that, like, the game is a little exploitative. And
yeah,
it could
it's like
be
the
a better
loot boxes
game.
are kind of mean.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be playing a better game, but there's only one game on your console, and it's Deca-Dence.
Yeah, and it's like there's a theme park aspect of it too, because like although Deca-Dence is like the game in the show, it's clear that like the cyborgs will play other games, and like as things are really popping off in Deca-Dence, and it's like a world-threatening scenario, the way the people on the cyborg ship interpret that is like, this is a wild limited time event that we all got to log in.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, double XP weekend. I got to log back in. I haven't played in forever.
Yeah, there's a ton of new stuff happening, and that's because the world is breaking down and humans are literally dying by the scores. But from like a mobile game perspective, it's a goofy event where you can get additional gems.
Yeah. And so this show, any show that involves a system that really shows capitalism for what it is, which is a bad prison that chews people up, makes them shovel shit and then eat it.
Forever.
Yeah, forever and ever, and it's a system that can never be broken, and it's a self-perpetuating system that is already won and can never be defeated. The problem that these shows run into is how are you going to defeat it? Because, like, you got to have a happy ending, especially in a show like this, which is, like, funny. Like, you can tell by just the tone of it that it's not going to end with, like, the system winning. So you're going to have to find a way to both portray capitalism as this intractable evil that has its tentacles in every single facet of life and has built this huge system that allows itself to never be defeated. And then you have to defeat it. So, Joe, what do? What's the solution? What's the solution to making capitalism better and living in a socialist paradise?
They take the game, which is Attack on Titan, and then they just make it Animal Crossing.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, the game stops being like, kill these huge monsters with your blood harpoons, and it becomes the only game you can hang out with humans and eat a big soup.
Yeah, it's Harvest Moon. It's like, hey, have you tried logging into Deca-Dence lately? You can help the humans make a prized crop of cabbages. Then they'll eat it and feel happy. Also, everyone knows about the cyborgs now. There's no secret. The humans are like, hey, cyborgs, what you up to? I would like to grow a carrot. And you're like, I've just gotten a golden watering can, so I'm going to be very helpful in that carrot quest. And everyone's chill.
That to me is also realistic insofar as, like, if your veil was pierced and you find out about, like, these otherworldly beings that control your life, you're like, that sucks. And then it's like, oh, actually, they just want to help me garden. I'm fine now. Like, It's less scary.
Yeah, and, like, Natsume now, after, you know, the world has been remade, like, her thing is that, like, well, she's gotten a lot of skill with, like, the flying backpack, and, like, she's actually, like, a great fighter and acrobat. Like, so now what she does is she, like, runs a tour company where, like, she, like, flies around and shows people cool shit using her skills. And, like, hell yeah, why not?
Also, the game where you help humans grow a single cabbage is way more popular than the harpoon game ever was.
Yeah. The thing is, as I age, I'm feeling this a lot. Games that are about, like, wanton total destruction, big time action, to me are a lot less appealing than, like, what if I could just, like, do a task, and then when it was done, everyone was like, damn, you did it. It's done. Here's a little reward. I'd be like, damn, hell yeah.
What if there was a game that was like Tetris, but instead of a score, no matter what happens, it said, you tried?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. That's so goddamn good.
I agree with this because, like, games that are, like, violent and have over-the-top action, now, in order to, like, make me interested in them, they have to be, like, gratuitous and creative in their violence and action. But, like, I find myself now defaulting to, like, the inner peace games are a lot more appealing. Like, look, there's a game called Parkosaurus where it's just, like, a Jurassic Park game, but, like, it's, like, very cute, and you manage a dinosaur park. Like, maybe, like, 10 years ago, I'd be like, I played enough Roller Coaster Tycoon, I get it, whatever. Now I see that, I'm like, well, that's actually a very pleasant way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah. Like I see games like the new Zelda Hyrule Warriors, where it's like a Dynasty Warriors game where you're Link and you have to fight 10,000 guys in a huge battlefield in an hour-long mission. And I'm like, I would rather be killed than play that game. That sounds awful. That's all 10,000 of those guys are the humans from Deca-Dence, and I'm like, I'm becoming part of the problem.
All the Musou and Dynasty Warrior games are incredible because it's like kill 10,000 guys in battles, and like you will like enter a field where there's like that many guys, and like they're not attacking, they're all just like stepping back and forth in unison, never attacking. Like there's no thrill in killing people who are doing like jazzercise. It doesn't count.
There's a few enemies that do fight back, but they're all obscured by the fucking minions who just stand there and do nothing, so you can't see their animations. I played the One Piece one, and like if any Dynasty Warriors game was going to hook me, it's the One Piece one. And Bunny, it didn't. I liked being the One Piece characters I love so well, but the game sucks shit.
I mean, the Dynasty Warriors formula is like, we will attach this to every IP. So like any fandom will eventually buy a Dynasty Warriors game because guess what, buddy? There's a Berserk one. You know what I mean? Like they'll definitely do something that aligns with your horrible favorites.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you go to the how to play page and it's like, well, if you're Sanji, here's your combos. You can do the super kick combo, which is XXXY, or you can do the big kick combo, which is XYXX, or you can do the kick combo, which is YYYX, or you can do the big old kickin' combo, which is YYYXXX. And I'm like, okay, like what one's the good one?
Yeah, first of all those are kicks. I know that's Sanjay's problem, but like from a perspective of like the player, that's not super interesting. Like Bayonetta had like hair whips and gun feet, so at least like the sequences you do would produce like visually crazy shit.
Okay, well, there are crazy characters who do visually crazy shit. Like Robin makes huge hands pop out of the ground and shit. But like games like that, it's just so hollow. Because like, well, I don't know what fucking combo is good. You got to tell me. Like, there's so many to choose from, and I'm left absolutely bereft. I have no idea. I'm paralyzed by choice, and I have no context for like what's good. Like, how do I know what I'm doing is right? Whereas in Stardew Valley and in Deca-Dence, when I pull out a parsnip and it's big O, and I get to go to the store and I sell it, and they're like, this parsnip kicks ass, 100 gold. That's just like, I did it. Like, I got the treaty. And that is how you defeat capitalism. Like, that is the way that you break the system. You break the systems back by, instead of playing Dynasty Warriors, you play Harvest Moon.
Yeah. Also, it helps if you make diaper sounds when you walk, because it just sort of, like, makes everything you're doing better, right?
Yeah. Turns out the minions...
they are minions. We said it a lot, but, man, these motherfuckers are minions.
If you ever had a bad opinion of minions in your life, have you ever thought low of them? Well, turns out you were wrong.
I like minions more as a result of this. It's a lot of it has to do with Jill, who again only has like is straight up a minion in a wig, in overalls. Her name kicks ass. Notably, like I think like the only like vaguely Western name, right?
Yes.
It's just Jill.
Well, there's one guy named Turkey.
Oh, but is that just like his gaming handle?
No, he's named Turkey. Well, also there's Mikey. Mikey is the guy who dies that gets them in trouble.
Oh, Mikey ruins it for everyone because he's a bad gamer.
Yeah. Because Kaburagi was surpassing his limits, but like in a cool way where no one was noticing. And then he like taught Mikey how to surpass his limits, and Mikey fucking died. And the reason that surpassing your limits is illegal is if you're logged into an avatar and you surpass your limits, and then the avatar dies, you die, which is dangerous.
Yeah, or like you can surpass your limits like a little bit, and it, like dying wouldn't kill you, but you would start to like, you would physically feel the pain.
Yeah,
right?
You'd be like, ouchie, I'm sore, but like you wouldn't be in danger.
Right, which is why they don't want to open that can of worms, because obviously you can't have people at your business dying at your fun gaming theme park.
Yeah. Oh, also like the fucking whole point of the game, which was to get the monster's blood, like. They start farming the monsters. Like they make the monsters. They design them to not have combat movesets and instead just be nice. And they like take the goo out safely.
They're cows now.
Yeah, man. It really just goes to show that capitalism is just needlessly violent, and that all of the needs of people could just be met if you just did the things that needed to be done. But instead, they make it very cruel and painful.
You just have to Harvest Moon everything, or Stardew Valley everything.
Yeah,
I would even argue Stardew Valley's better because like you stop Walmart.
It's true. You make Walmart fucking leave. You make the guy who's the Walmart guy, his glasses get all askew when he realizes that no one wants to shop.
That's the real like happy ending. Like making your grandfather's ghost proud of you or whatever. Who gives a shit? He's a ghost. He can't touch you.
Yeah, his bed was just like a random cot diagonal in the middle of a room. He's a dumbass. No one does that.
I will say, Stardew Valley is an amazing game. That illustration of his bed is the worst thing I've ever fucking seen. And if they ever make it look better, I will lose my mind.
There are patches that make it look better. I don't think they're going to happen officially. Oh, God. Anyway, Joe, is there anything left to say about Deca-Dence other than that it whips
It's 12 episodes. Like, there's not a lot of... I mean, that's common for an anime, but I just feel like the ability to just sit down and, like, finish something that's 12 episodes, have a contained viewing experience, and not be like, what about season 2, is so nice.
Yeah. And it's like, again, it is a completely original story. Like, it has a lot of influences. Like, it is very clearly Attack on Titan themed. Like, if you know Attack on Titan and that sort of shape of that, and the sort of shape of that kind of story, it like helps make the magic trick hit harder because it tricks you into thinking what the show is going to be. But like, there's not a lot of shows that are like this, and it's so short and it's done. And when the ending happens, it's like you can tell that it's over. There's no open door for a sequel. It just
there's no suspicious man at the end like overlooking the main characters and being like soon.
Yeah, it's just like they did it. Now they grow cabbages instead of die to dinosaurs.
The one thing Tom didn't mention, and I just wanted to briefly address it, is there's like an extinction event where all the monsters all die because like they do that because like it's a computer game, right? So they had to be like, clear monsters, reload the system, and all the monsters start dying off, and except for there's like one little like seahorse thing that they're keeping as a pet, and it starts to die because it's like the extinction gene, and it shoots its little tendrils as it's dying into like a guy, and he's like, oh, I don't feel good. And then later, like a big monster like comes out of his stomach and starts eating other people, and like this is like episode 10 or 11, and I legit thought it was going to do the chimera ant shit like at the very end. Like I was like, is this the what? There's 40 minutes left. You can't just say that like this thing is putting body parts into itself and getting bigger. But sure enough, it did, but it didn't do like the full ant thing.
Yeah, it was mostly just there needs to be a big physical existential threat that is not controlled by the corporation. Because like that's the thing. Like every single monster has like a chip in it because they're all manufactured, and so like if they ever get out of hand, the admin can just turn them off.
Right, and because this was a creature that was created, quote unquote, organically, it doesn't have a chip on it. So when the mods go to turn it off because it's about to fuck shit up, they're like, oh no, this one is an OG, unfortunately.
Yep. God, good show.
It is. They got cute little feet.
Yeah. So I feel like we did a good anime episode. I feel like we got our anime legs back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing another one in a year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Fuck anime. I hate this shit. It's so bad. Why did we're such assholes naming it Anime Sickos? Because people are like, oh, you're going to talk about anime? No, never. We hate it.
Yes, we hate it. It's actually a labor podcast by two dumb guys that didn't know this until 12 episodes in.
Yeah, pretty much. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos, everybody. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I am Joe, an Anime Sicko. We recorded this on Thanksgiving because we were like, we don't have to work. Clearly, we have to podcast.
Yeah, and I gotta say, using the like 9 to 5 brain power for podcast shit is so strong.
Specifically anime. Like, you say podcast, like, it's an anime podcast. We're using it for a specific type of podcasting energy.
Yeah. It's wild. I love it. It's me. It's us breaking the system, dude. Doing cog work during the day, that's Deca-Dence. Doing anime podcasts during the day, that's the Harvest Moon from the end. We've defeated capitalism, is what I'm hearing. Just gotta make it last past this weekend. Don't know how we're gonna do that, but
I'm gonna tell you something. It'll probably involve surpassing limits. That's the only way to do it.
Huh. Well, I am having trouble with the final boss of Sekiro, so I need to surpass my limits with that. Thank you for real for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.